We're ready, says Bonnie, so here we are. Can you, do you, an initial greeting?
Hi, nothing but worry.
Nothing but worry. Number 46, I believe.
I don't know. You told me.
Yeah. All right, so, another 3-day weekend. Thank goodness.
So why do you have a 3-day weekend, Lance?
Because yesterday I had to go to the hospital for an MRI. And because it was the kind of MRI where they put you in for a little while and then take you out and put this contrast dye into your veins and then put you back in for another go-round, it took about an hour. Luckily, I got there early and I couldn't sleep. Anytime I have something to do, I can't sleep on my day off. I'll sleep maybe 2 hours at most and then be up. So I left the house early and I went to a couple of thrift stores and I went to the Athens Library, which is a dump as usual. Got to the hospital early. They took me, they immediately processed me and I went back to the waiting room and I didn't have to wait but maybe 10 minutes. I started to fall asleep. Anyway, I was so sleepy. When I got into the MRI machine, I fell asleep in there. And then, so I was gone for a couple of hours doing all that crap. So I had a 3-day weekend. I have a 3-day weekend. And next week, also have a 3-day weekend, thank goodness.
Your annual physical is next weekend.
Yeah, and once again, I'm sure he'll say, you need to do a colonoscopy or do the home colonoscopy thing. And I don't know what to say.
Is that where I shove some?
Oh.
Ooh, again, babe.
You could put the periscope up my butt.
Oh God.
And so the home fecal testing kit is revolting. And I think last time I asked to get the colonoscopy, just go ahead and have it, but something happened. We didn't do it.
You had your shift change from 1 hour to another, and then your location change from one place to another, and so it ended up just being a nightmare for scheduling.
Okay, so this time when he says it, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm ready. I want the full colonoscopy thing.
You want the full deal, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know they put you under and you know what they do, right? Okay?
Yeah, but don't you have to have a home enema first before you go?
It's a little different now. They have purge kits where it's just you do a fast for a couple days of certain products.
Couple of days?
Yeah, it's like 48 hours. You start doing fluids the day before, the light foods, and then the next day it's like clear fluids and then nothing, and then they give you these purge pills, laxatives. Yeah, it's changed.
You know, when I was a young man, I would fast 2 or 3 days. Would go without eating for 2 or 3 days, and I had no problem. And it was just a thing I did. But I haven't done that in years. I don't know if I could
You'd pass
do
out.
it.
Given how much you sweat and how much you walk every night, yeah.
Yeah. So, a little update about work. The clerks union is pursuing an aggressive policy of trying to get rid of us mail handlers, and so they're raising hell about us doing this job or that job. So the other mail handler and I raised the issue with there were 3 mail handlers. There were 3 of us, but one of us is in the Army Reserve, and she's gone to Iraq for 400 days. So now we're down to 2 people. And that's when they started all this shit. So we contacted our union, and they sent down one of their top people, who is a 6'1" bodybuilder woman. And she came down, and somehow the clerks union president found out about it, and she sent a note down during the middle of the night saying, you tell them I want to have a meeting with them. And our union person said, no, you don't meet with her. If she wants to meet with somebody, she can meet with me. And as far as I know, there has been no meeting, because I think the other woman, the clerk person backed out or something. I don't know what's going on. But, you know, this is yet another example why unions and collective bargaining are good. And
But
anyway,
yet management has managed to divide unions into these subcrafts in such a way they're now fighting for the few jobs that are there. All this has happened because machines are moving in and clerk jobs are fewer and far between. And people like you, mail handlers, have to do the physical labor that cannot be done by machines. Or if there are machines involved, you guys are the ones who operate these machines.
exactly.
And so, what this person doesn't realize is that for 9 years, clerks were doing your job in Athens. They were doing the physical labor of unloading just dozens of trucks every day, things that were mail handler jobs. And you guys should file a grievance about that. And this woman is now harassing you, going, I want you to meet me after you get off your ship, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, I don't have to talk to you. Talk to my union rep. And then for her to come out and go, you signed this statement saying you're not going to meet with me. Okay, I'm not going to meet with you.
Yeah, I don't know if I should have done that or not. The last day I worked, right before I was about to go.
No, I think that you should have. It's on file, and that is your position. There's nothing controversial about the fact that you are wanting union representation on your behalf.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with saving your job. This woman wants to send you back to Atlanta, 125 miles a night. And when you have seizures, that means me driving 250 miles a night to get you to and from work for 6-month periods.
Yeah. So, that's going on at work. So anyway, work is just chaotic. But I'll repeat it once again. The short drive time to work, I still say it makes up for it. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth this extra physical work. I mean, I'm not walking as much as I did when I worked up in Atlanta. I'll say that. But it's a lot of nonsense we have to put up with. And another thing, when I worked in Atlanta, there was a situation where every night was a struggle to get the proper equipment, the proper containers to put the mail in. And I had to go all over the building hustling up containers. I don't have to deal with that here. I'll say that.
That building was over 100,000 square feet. So it was walking several football fields.
It was monstrous.
They had 90 docks, 90 numbered docks up there. Even if they didn't use them all, they had 90 numbered truck docks up there.
Yeah, I think we only have 19 at this facility. And another thing, I'm not repairing equipment the way I did in Atlanta. I had tools that I had accumulated over the years, and I knew how to fix things, how to take a piece of broken equipment and make it work. I don't have to deal with that.
Well, you do have an issue with not having all the equipment you need up here, and then the clerks using equipment that you're supposed to use only as a mail handler, and then clerks taking the equipment and hiding it from you guys.
Yeah, well, even that's not that big of a deal.
It's still a pissy thing to do.
Yeah, there must be, oh God, maybe 12 manual pallet jacks in the building, and most of them are broken. And of the ones that work, only 2 are worth a shit. And the dock personnel, the not my craft, but the other types of dock personnel, they take one of the good ones and hide it somewhere in the building so that we can't have it. And anyway,
pettiness.
it is.
It's meanness.
And but anyway, enough about work. I already told you earlier I didn't want to talk about work this weekend. But that'll be our update, and we're done with that now. All right. So Bonnie and I do a crossword together almost every day, and one of the what do you call it?
Clues?
Clues or answers or whatever in today's puzzle was Nina Simone. And I said, Nina Simone, we haven't listened to her in forever. So I've got out my 2 Nina Simone CDs here, and I'm going to listen to these. And this one has Love Me or Leave Me, Wild as the Wind,
Yes.
Mississippi Goddamn, Pirate Jenny,
Yep.
Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood.
Oh, my God.
Great songs on here.
Yeah.
Great. I love her. I haven't listened to, God, what's that other woman I used to listen to? Carmen McRae. Haven't listened to her in forever. And I was going through, I have a section that's all that type of singer, the classic singer type thing, Sinatra, Dean Martin, that kind of thing. I've got Vic Damone up there. Haven't listened to him in forever. Really, I need to move the Neil Diamond stuff over there. I've got a relatively recent Neil Diamond album, Long Way Home. Is that the name of it? That's a great record. I think that's produced by Rick Rubin. I need to get that out and listen to that again.
The other week I was watching something on television. I said, "Who the hell is this guy?" And I looked him up, and he was a Neil Diamond, what do you call those performers?
Tribute act.
Tribute act. Come to find out, he had been on the cruise ship where Reed and Andrew went.
Yeah.
He performed on it and did his Neil Diamond thing. Reed said that he was fabulous.
Yeah.
They had a lot of fun.
Our daughter and her boyfriend came over a couple of days ago, and I was just about to say something about him.
Neil Diamond?
No. Reed's boyfriend.
Oh.
I said something to him. Oh, crap! I can't remember. But something related to music or something. I needed to listen to something. But anyway, I don't even know what kind of music he likes.
Well, we know he likes some metal.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of metal, do you know?
Well, we know that he's familiar with Rammstein, for example.
Cool.
And there were some others that we had mentioned. But
Does he like Ghost?
he also knew Ghost, yes.
Okay, cool.
Though I've got to tell you, that's really soft in the way of metal. I'd call that just rock at this point.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I know this maybe is a controversial opinion, but to me, especially the first 2 records, it seemed to me that they were building on a Blue Oyster Cult foundation.
They were very, not operatic, but showman.
Yeah.
In their not just their videos and the performance because of their attire, but there was something that was dramatic about the presentation.
Yeah.
And Tobias Forge just would ham it up on stage in costume and over
I know.
act. Yes.
I know what I was going to say. I told our daughter's boyfriend, the short commute to work is great, but one thing I do miss is because my commute used to be an hour or an hour and 10 minutes to and from work, and I could listen to a whole record or maybe the majority of 2 whole records, and I kind of miss that. I kind of miss listening to a whole record at a time,
Well, you've got your nights at the studio.
Yeah.
So you've got that in a sense. Of course, you can't really play it.
I can't play stuff as loud. Yeah. At my old studio next door, I could play shit really loud.
Yeah, there were a couple nights I had to go over there and bang on the door going, if I can hear you and you're waking me up from sleep, I know the neighbors are going to call the cops. And we're on 5 acres of land here.
My ability to record my music, my guitar playing, my songwriting and stuff has really gone down because I can't make racket at night. And also the acoustics in my new studio are just not the same because the other place was just basically a concrete box. So I could play stuff really loud and get stuff balanced with the drum machine and everything, but that's all right. Eventually I'll get the kind of studio I want. Oh, that brings up a sort of side issue.
What?
There was a hardback magazine back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s called Horizon.
Fabulous
It was
magazine.
put out by American Heritage Magazine Corporation. It was basically an arts and culture magazine, and we must have 30 of them from the
Library book
60s.
sale.
Yeah, library book sale. Anyway, so a couple of days ago, I remember they had an article in one of them, and I went hunting for it, and I found it. It's from 1960, and it's about all the artists and writers who lived along the Housatonic River that runs through Massachusetts into Connecticut. And I found it, and I'm going through it. It's Norman Rockwell and Malcolm Cowley and
The humorist
James Thurber. They
Yeah.
all had houses along this river, and so we're going through the magazines, through the article, and it's everything that I want. You know, this New England, these old forests, these old rivers, these old houses, and a lot of these people have like an old barn in the backyard that they've turned into a studio or a
Yep.
writing space or workspace. One of these days, that's what I'm gonna have. That I'm gonna have a custom made building in the backyard where I have room to store paintings. I have room to make racket. I have room to make a big mess. High ceilings. I have a bigger easel, a work table. You know, just everything I want. And
And a cot.
yeah, I used to sleep at the
You
old studio.
Sleep over at the other one. Sometimes you would just pass out.
I had dragged down an old rug, an old piece of carpet that was in the kids' old room, and I had it on the floor, and I had cushions over there, and I had a blanket, and sometimes I would just sleep on the floor over there because I was just so beat in the middle of the night. And my old studio, the only bad thing was it didn't have a toilet. So if I had to pee, I'd either have to pee in a jug or come back over to the house to go to the bathroom.
Gross.
Yeah.
Menfolk.
Menfolk can whip it out and pee in an old orange juice
Okay,
jug.
that one thing we're jealous about, okay? One.
So I've gotten Bonnie into reading or enjoying Cynthia Heimel,
Yeah.
late humorist / essayist.
She predated Candace Bushnell, who was the Sex and the City author.
Inspiration.
Well, she wrote the series, too.
But she actually was a columnist.
Yes. And Cynthia Heimel just paved the way for somebody like her. She
Yeah.
worked for Village Voice and Penthouse and...
Oh, she worked for... hold on. We're going to pause the recording because it's medicine time. All right, we're back after taking our
Pills.
9 o'clock pills. Mine are baby aspirin, anti-seizure medication, and Cortef, which is a kind of hydrocortisone, cortisol, whatever the hell it is. And that's all related to my health conditions, which is non-functioning pituitary gland and a non-functioning thyroid gland, and on and on and on and on.
Acquired Addison's and your seizures, and yeah, it's a nightmare. Whereas mine are just all my heart meds.
All right. So continuing with what we were saying, I have the whole getting Bonnie into Cynthia Heimel is just part of the encouragement that I've been giving her for the last 5-6 months. I think she really ought to get into writing essays on a regular basis because I think she's good at it, and I think that you inject a little humor in there, and it's good. Bonnie has a knack for predicting what the jokes are going to be on the late night monologues, which is pretty funny. She'll say, she'll say something, and sure enough, the next 30 seconds, the guy will make that exact joke.
Or I'll point out a joke he missed.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get Bonnie to write some essays, and she's written some lately about the whole the election and the Republicans' anti-abortion efforts and so on and so forth. So anyway, let me throw in one thing. I wrote down one thing to add. Yesterday, when I was killing time before the MRI, I went to basically the cheapest thrift store in town, which is the Project Safe thrift store. And they had a copy of Alban Berg's unfinished opera, Lulu, a 3-disc set. And I thought, oh, great! So I saw it was a little water damaged, the booklet, but I didn't, like an idiot, I didn't examine the CDs themselves. And when I got to the parking deck at the hospital, I opened up the damn thing, and some idiot had put these square pieces of foam into the jewel case, I guess to buffer the CDs, and they had rotted and they had stuck to the CDs. So when I opened the car door, I scraped off what I could, and I thought I'll just have to clean them off when I get home. So last night, I laid down a piece of cloth on the floor in the playroom, and I got a damp rag, and I started scraping away this foam. And on one of the CDs, taking the foam off took the whole digital layer off so the disc became transparent, and it doesn't read on the CD player anymore.
Infuriating.
It is infuriating.
Stupidity.
And the thing is, somebody must have bought this thing back when CDs first came out, because they thought, oh, these poor delicate CDs, I need to buffer them in some way. And then to just let the foam rot in there. They were stuck to the CDs.
And 25 years ago, you and I were renting DVDs and videos, music, other things like that from video stores, libraries, etc. We were always appalled, especially the library. We would get things, and people would have greasy fingerprints on the disc.
Yeah.
It was so incredibly stupid.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
When the CD, a lot of you young people out there, you don't believe in physical media anymore. You don't even own a CD player or a DVD player, but you don't know what it was like to have these wondrous technological bounties come into our lives. I mean, even VHS tapes was just wonderful to be able to watch what you wanted
when you wanted it.
Yeah. So anyway, with all the press lead up to the launching of the CD revolution, there was all this talk about what the capacities of a CD were, the advantages and so forth. And there was a lot of talk about how CDs were indestructible, and you could beat the shit out of them, and you could get them dirty, and they would still play. And none of it was true. And I remember a couple of years ago, some radio DJs talking about this, and they said, well, we had been led to believe, they were indestructible. So when the first promo CDs came in the mail for us to play, we were throwing them around the studio like frisbees, like, ha, we can do this now. And only to quickly find out, no, if they get scratched, you're screwed. Or if they get some grease on them, they're almost impossible to clean grease off. And same thing with DVDs. But that being said, these people who think that vinyl and LPs are superior are fools. They are not superior. The only thing we went over this last time. The only advantage to LPs was the bigger artwork. But I will say,
liner notes. Yeah.
Liner
notes.
Yeah.
Didn't they used to give Grammys for liner notes?
Yeah. I think they probably still do in like a niche category like jazz or classical. But VHS, as great as it was, because it was easy to record on, was a pain in the ass because there's miles of tape that can easily get damaged or stuck in the machine. But anyway.
When we first got married, we had a television that had a built-in VCR in it. Talk about a nightmare situation when something got hung up in there.
Yeah.
Especially something like our Simpsons reels, which the kids would play over and over.
We had VHS tapes that I had taped
from television.
Hours and hours of nothing but Simpsons episodes, and if the kids were upset,
Doctor Who.
And I had
Doctor Who.
I had tons of Doctor Who episodes that I had taped back when I was in like 8th or 9th grade. Jeez. I had like a little allowance or a little salary from my first job reading water meters for the city, and I bought a VHS tape like every 2 months, and I would fill it up with Doctor Who episodes. And when Bonnie was pregnant with our daughter, she watched dug these 30-year-old Doctor Who tapes out and watched them endlessly. And she thinks it bled into the womb.
Yeah, we heard the theme song, and she is a Whovian to this date, partly because her father's one of the original Athens area Time Lords.
That's right. Yeah. But anyway, so what else is going on? What's another topic we can bring up?
We should probably talk about politics in a completely separate episode.
Yeah, I don't want to get depressed. I mean, I feel very optimistic and positive about Trump getting his ass handed to him, but
as I said, she mopped the floor with his toupee.
we still have to deal with the Electoral College.
Yeah.
And I don't want to...
And all of the election interference, especially here in Georgia. We're talking about an elections board who may throw out votes.
Yeah.
On a whim. And we'll have to take them to court. And by that time that it happens, the election will have already been certified.
She needs to beat him overwhelmingly so there is no doubt and there cannot be any serious
Hillary
challenge.
beat him by 2 million votes and lost through the Electoral College. Biden beat him by over 7 million
I thought
votes.
Hillary beat him by 7 million.
No, Hillary beat him by over 2 million. Biden beat him by over 7 million and won the Electoral College. She needs 15 million votes.
If this debate between the vice presidential candidates goes well, I think we're going to be further along the road to getting what we want.
J.D. Vance is so unlikable.
Yeah.
And Tim Walz is just your favorite teacher, your favorite high school teacher, your favorite coach, your favorite neighbor, he doesn't even come across as a fucking politician. He's just a nice guy.
Yeah. Okay, enough politics.
Yeah.
I got some things here. I have some CDs laid out that I've been listening to lately. Let's go over these.
Oh, okay.
All right, I've got Charles Ives, the 4 violin sonatas.
I was not that impressed when we listened to Charles Ives the other day in the car.
Well, I think that was a different CD. And the problem, yet again, like I've said before, is too quiet to listen to in the car.
That's true.
Oh, I know something I was going to bring up. Okay, first of all, let me dig it out here. Oh shit. Where the hell is it at?
What was that thing that I introduced you to, this binaural beats thing?
Yeah, sometimes my meditation is up and down, back and forth, and I'm such a purist that I think, well, it's bad enough that I'm using a kitchen timer to time out my meditation session.
So you got this bead strategy going.
So I started doing the beads, and I kind of dropped that recently because I've been able to focus just on the breathing. But anyway, so somehow this whole thing about binaural beats came up, and I thought, well, I'm really against listening to music while I meditate, but I'll give it a shot. And I listened to this hand pan drumming thing. It's not steel drum, but it's like a is that what it's called? Hand pan?
Yeah, it's a southeastern type of instrument, and
the Eastern Asian.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Southeast Asian.
So there's the binaural beats, hand pan music, like 5-hour video, and I tried it the other day, and it was pretty good. It wasn't too intrusive on my meditation, and it helped keep me from.
It's good to do Tai Chi with.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how much I'm going to pursue that. But here's the thing. Several years ago at Goodwill, I found there was a band called the Lincoln Conspiracy.
Oh, fuck yeah.
They were a piano-based pop trio, and I found their album Details Are Everything from 90.
Now,
God knows how old this
It's
is.
got some Chicago-like horns in it, too.
I think that's just studio editions.
But, I mean, it's definitely got something there with the horns.
But it's classic pop music. But anyway, so I've had this album forever, and it's really, really good. And but there's very little information about them online. Well, Bonnie found a YouTube fan page, what they call a topic site channel, and with other albums by them, and I was stunned. So Bonnie and I are intending to sit down on the sofa in front of the big TV and put on some of their albums and just sit there and listen to them. Have a little listening party. So that's something we have in mind for this weekend. But I don't know anything about them. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know how they got started. I don't know what town they're from.
And given that they call themselves Lincoln Conspiracy, it's just about impossible to find anything about them online.
Because you punch those words in.
Adding in plus band, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You can't find it.
But the snippets that I heard from their other albums sounded just as good as this one. This album is called Details Are Everything, and it's from 2003. And there's pictures of the band in different settings on the booklet. And one of the pictures, it's like two short guys and one tall guy. And the tall guy is wearing a T-shirt from the Varsity, which was a classic hamburger joint here in Athens for decades until they shut it down.
You're not saying this is Athens-based, is it?
No, I don't think. No, they weren't from Athens. No,
Oh,
I know that
okay.
because I would have heard about them otherwise.
Hilarious.
But isn't that funny? He's wearing a Varsity T-shirt.
God, I mean, you could have been in Atlanta, you know,
Well, knowing.
Atlanta connection.
Well, yeah, it's true. There was a Varsity in Atlanta, but
The Varsity.
these types of bands, these minor bands, they toured constantly, and Athens is a regular stop for this kind of Okay, so anyway,
Yeah, we were
I have
big
been
before
going.
Austin.
I've been going through a Steely Dan kick lately, and I've got their album Katie Lied out. I think this is their third album, or is it the fourth? It must be the fourth album. I got that out. I've been listening to Duran Duran lately. I've got their Pop Trash album out, which I'm going to give it another shot, but to be honest, it's just not that good. I've got the Albenberg Quartet playing different string quartets here. I've got Donald Fagen's third solo album, or fourth, Sunken Condos, which is a great record. And I'll tell you something, this is bad to admit, to confess to, but I have never really gotten into George Harrison's first solo album, All Things Must Pass.
Oh my God.
So I've got it out again, and I'm going to
I pulled
try
that out
it.
when he died in 2001. He died in, what, November that year? I pulled it out and listened to it, and I was just floored by him. God.
See, I don't know, I'm so perverse that I really think his best albums were his last two.
Oh, with Jeff Lynne.
Yeah, the two that Jeff Lynne
Yeah,
produced.
those were fucking awesome.
Cloud9 and Brainwashed. His last two records are so good. But I'm gonna give this a shot again. Finally,
Yeah.
I've got Duran Duran's Astronaut album, which is the one where they got back together.
Wait, is that the one where they did that video with all the lookalike celebrities?
No, that's from their either most recent
Wait,
album
is
or
this
the one
where
before.
Justin Timberlake was the producer, and I made endless fun of you for liking some of the music.
I don't think that's the Astronaut album, but it does fall into that category of. But I like that kind of music. I like that kind of dance-based pop.
Yeah, just think, bring sexy back, and run away quickly.
I've got Charles Ives' record, Three Places in New England, and I got this out because he has a piece on here called From the Housatonic to Stockbridge.
Ah.
And I listened to it in the car today, and it's so quiet you can barely hear it.
What's the date that was done? When did he?
Oh, he died before 1930, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is a classic World War I, pre-World War I era composer, and he's very New England based. And
Yeah.
I've got Akathisia.
What is that?
Well, this is an album by the band Hovercraft, which was sort of a instrumental band, and Eddie Vedder's ex-wife is the bass player for this band.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, how about that Eddie Vedder song I sent you this week? It was a cover of that British band.
Yeah.
The hell was it? And Pete Townsend covered it.
Oh, it's the same song as that one, the English Beat song that you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's a second cover version.
No, the English Beat's the original. Pete Townsend covered
That's
it.
what I'm saying. You're saying that
And
Eddie
Eddie
Vedder.
Vedder covered it also. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I've
Peter
got-
turned me on to that.
I've gotten to where I really like Eddie Vedder. I just think he's just got a
Yeah.
classic rock voice, and he can sing
He's
mellow.
got
He
that-
can sing full throated. He's
But he's
you know.
also got the Tom Petty writing skills. He puts out a song with poetry. It's just a story there laid out for you. It's great.
The Pearl Jam album Lightning Bolt. A friend of mine gave it to me for my birthday. Hi, Steve. And so anyway, but when he gave it to me, I was like, "Oh, Pearl Jam." I like the second album, but this record is really really
Yeah.
good. The song "Getaway" is so good, and he lets the records play, and there's a bunch of really good songs on that record. Anyway, I also have a double album, or no, I'm sorry, it's two albums in one by Captain Beefheart, and I ordered this in the mail, and it's Safe as Milk, which was his first record, and Mirror Man, which is his third or fourth.
Is that his art on the cover, of course?
No, that's a photograph of him playing the harmonica.
Oh, I can
And
make it out from
and
here. Okay.
when I got this in the mail, the Mirror Man disc was like with the albums I was telling about earlier. It had the digital coating scraped off, so it won't play. So I had to order a whole different copy of that. I've got Stone Temple Pilots #4 album here, which has got a bunch of really good stuff on it. Heaven and Hot Rods is good. Church on Tuesday is good. The hit on here was Sour Girl, which I don't think is that great. And I've got Soundgarden's Super Unknown album out. The reason I have all this grunge...
Wait, who is the lead singer on this group?
Chris Cornell.
Okay, he's the one that accidentally hung himself.
Yeah. Under the influence of stuff.
Shit.
This album, Super Unknown, is so goddamn good. Every single song. God, Black Hole Sun, Kickstand, Mailman, Super Unknown, Fell on Black Days, Let Me Drown, My Wave, Like Suicide. Oh my God, so many good songs on here. But I used to listen to this. The year before I got married to Bonnie, I was going to... I had gone back to college. I was taking classes at the Truett McConnell Satellite Campus over in Watkins Hill, and I would listen to this every single day when I was working out before I went to school. But anyway, so I've been on. But the thing is, I've been on this so-called grunge kick lately because I started thinking about how Eddie Vedder is the only singer from those bands that's still alive. All the rest of them are dead. And I looked up the...
Suicide, overdose,
yeah.
accidental death. Christ.
Just...
Scott Weiland, oh my God.
Lane
boy.
Staley.
Fuck.
Nobody had heard from him in weeks. He was just holed up in his apartment. His mother
Oh, how awful.
had the building super go over there and had to break the door down, and his emaciated, rotting corpse was in the bed, surrounded by needles. He had just been eaten away by heroin. And it's just, he was like 34.
Yeah, Pearl Jam played UGA Legion Field back when they were getting started.
And Bonnie thought Eddie Vedder was on drugs because he was sweating so much.
He was.
But that's what, these guys who really go for it in concert, that's, years and years and years ago, when Michael Hutchence was still alive and INXS was riding high, there were a lot of comparisons between Michael Hutchence and Mick Jagger. And somebody brought that up to Mick Jagger, and Mick Jagger said, yeah, people say there's some sort of comparison between me and him or us and the band. He said, I don't see it, because I've seen them perform and I've seen them come off stage. And when they come off stage, they're still pretty and clean and neat. And Michael Hutchence is still high and dry. He said, when I come off stage, I'm covered with sweat and I'm exhausted because I have given it everything I can.
Yeah.
He said, there's no comparison between us and them. Oh, dear.
Another wasted life. Christ.
Yeah. I mean,
Another accidental hanging.
well, the thing is, I think out of that group of grunge singers that died, I think overall Scott Weiland was my favorite. But because, I mean, he really
covered
was
that-
so talented. He
He
covered,
covered Palo Alto, right?
yeah, the song is called, oh, God, we'll never think of it
I
now.
know.
But yeah, it's a great song. That Palo Alto was this band. I think they're still around. They had one hit. Some things must go this way. That's the name of the song.
It's fucking
And
amazing.
this has been about a year ago. I was looking it up on YouTube to find it to play for Bonnie, and I was like, wait a minute. Scott Weiland did a cover of this? And it's phenomenal.
Yes.
It is so good. But anyway, but all that being said, Chris Cornell, the singer for Soundgarden, he was good looking, he could write songs, he could sing, he had it all.
Didn't
and
he
just
have a spin-off
throw it
group
away.
with one of the guys from Rage Against the
He
Machine?
was the singer for Audio Slave,
Yeah,
which was...
God damn, that was a good group.
I have their second album, and I just can't get into it. I just don't think
Seriously?
it's that great.
Yeah, speaking of Morell, Tom Morell has a spin-off group, again, where he does dark, dark cowboy music.
Oh,
It's really quite funny, and it's really quite good. You ought to try it.
I never got into Rage Against the Machine. I'm not a big fan of the fusion of rap and metal or rap and rock. And they were a little too... I'm progressive and I'm liberal and I'm socialist, but they were a little too
Marxist?
overtly... Yeah.
No, what's the oh fuck, what's that band? One of the guys was on Tommy Iommi's album.
Oh, you're thinking of System of a Down, Serj Tankian.
He did another group, didn't he? He had a
Not that I know of. Serj Tankian? No.
no. Who am I thinking of?
You think
It's
the-
Armenian guy.
That's, yeah, all the guys in System of a Down are Armenian, yeah.
Oh yeah, they did. Okay. Yeah, they're the ones that did that suicide song that had to be pulled after 9/11, Chop Suey and all that.
Yeah. I've got their first album, which I don't think is that great, but I've got their second album, which I think is just phenomenal. I haven't heard that in years.
I know why I got confused, because System of Down versus Down.
Down. I have Down's first
Nola?
album. It's called Nola. It's the singer for Pantera, and it's the guitar player from Corrosion of Conformity. Is that right? Is that the name of the band? Yeah. And it's one of the guitar players from Crowbar. So there's all this New Orleans influence guys together. And it's a really good record. But I've got their second, third, and fourth albums on my MP3 player, and they're really fucking good too. I was stunned because I thought they were just going to be like a
Are
one.
they the ones that do Stone the Crow?
Yeah, Stone the Crows.
And that
Great
Jail.
song. Jail's a good song.
God.
And also, what's that song that goes? Oh, I can't think of the name of the damn. I don't even know where that album's at. It's in my room somewhere. Bury Me in Smoke.
You know what song I was thinking of a moment ago? We were talking about the 90s bands. That one, what was it? Coat of Many Colors, River, Down the River.
Oh,
Way Down the River.
Stone Temple Pilots has a song called Kitchenware and Candy Bars. And that's so funny you mentioned that, because I played that just yesterday in the car, and that's probably the heaviest song STP ever did, because the subject matter, that intense groove that they're in, and when the guitar comes in for the solo, it's not. They don't even bother with the solo. It's just the change in the tone of the guitar and the intensity with which he just grinds on it. The song is about Scott Weiland his girlfriend way years ago had an abortion without telling him, and it's about his feelings about how when he found out. And the song is basically like everybody else knew that she was pregnant, everybody else knew that she had an abortion, and she didn't tell me.
Because he was so fucked.
Well, I don't know if he was fucked at that time. You know, he probably was straight at, in those days. But it's just an intense song, and that is on the second album. Yeah. And
What's the name of that again?
Kitchenware and Candy Bars.
Jesus.
I think it's sort of an oblique reference to domesticity. Or childhood. Speaking of which, I went to the Winterville Library today and there was a baby in there. And
you were sad.
I waved at him and smiled at him, and he kind of, smiled back at me. Little bitty guy, not even a year old yet.
Yeah, I can hear the smile in your voice as you say that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I miss our kids being little.
I'm glad they're older, though. They did what they're supposed to do, grow up to be
I know, but
big.
still. When they were about 3 and 5, 4 and 2, they were just...
Oh, once they get to be about 6 months and they're little chunks.
Yeah.
And you can just bounce them on your knee and they giggle at everything. And they're just so cuddly at that point. They've gone past that delicate stage where everything's breakable.
Yeah, when they're newborns, you're just terrified they're going to get...
But then they hit this point where they tumble over and they turn themselves about and stuff, and it's just this great exploration of the world.
Yeah, but I'll say this. Years ago, our daughter was able to sit up, but that was about it. And our son wasn't born yet. I
wasn't even pregnant.
No, he wasn't pregnant with him yet. But anyway, the three of us went to this hair salon place out there across from where the mall used to be. And you were in the chair getting your hair cut, and Reed and I were sitting against the wall, and I put her down on the floor in front of me, and she fell backwards and hit the back of her head on the bar on the chair. Bam! And she started howling, and I felt like such a fucking fool. Anytime your kid gets hurt because of your negligence, it just eats at you. And even today, 28 years later, I still feel it. They got hurt so many times when they were little, and it just...
God, the one time she ran into that, she tripped over the edge.
Oh, don't even bring that up. That was horrible.
Oh, God, that was at the mall.
She tripped on a wire in the store, this electrical cord, and hit her head on a metal chair.
We had to take her to an ER, and it was just so sad. And then, afterwards, we took everybody went to the Wendy's, and we had potatoes.
For some reason, my mother just happened to be at the hospital.
We called her to tell her what had happened, and she came over to the hospital. Reed was fine. She hit herself right between the eyes and had black eyes and a swollen area, so the bridge disappeared.
Do you remember the door? There was in the old house. There was a door leading from the living room into what was the master bedroom, and it was like a cheap, rickety wooden door with a ragged edge, and Reed fell against it and cut her cheek on it.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
All right, let's see how much time. I bet you we've been here 40 minutes.
I bet you we have to.
It's 48 minutes. This is our longest video yet. Okay, we're out of here.
We're out of here. Bye. Bye. Bye.